There are a variety of ferocious creatures on our planet that are more than capable of dispatching almost any person they come across. Oh my, lions, tigers and bears. Yet, despite how terrifying they may appear, even these monsters are frightened by a few critters, from the oddly charming mammal that apparently preys upon great white sharks to the incredibly hairy cat that makes bears shudder. Here are a few of the creatures that top predators are most afraid of. Dull finishing move. Who do you think is the top predator in the ocean? Great white sharks are a terrific choice if you've ever seen the movie Jaws, and for good reason. They may weigh 5,000 pounds and grow up to 20 feet long. It's about equivalent to the weight of 30 healthy adults. There's almost nothing that this aquatic killer won't savour, from tuna to seals, dolphins to whales. Speaking of teeth, great white sharks have almost 300 razor-sharp canines that are designed for ripping into their prey's skin. Yet there is an animal that even great white sharks flee from out of terror. As bizarre as that may sound, it's true. Can you guess who? Maybe some type of deep-sea monster like a huge squid? Well, not quite. In actuality, not in the slightest. At their biggest, bottlenose dolphins measure just about 10 feet long and weigh less than 600 pounds. They're regarded as nature's adorable and noisy ocean playmates. Thus, gigantic great whites are scarcely in danger, am I right? If assaulted, they would vehemently protect both their pod and themselves. These dolphins are swift and nimble, allowing them to outwit and fight predators even though they lack razor-sharp teeth. So what do they attack with? Their tails or fins? It's all in their snouts, which is incredible. They can swim at a peak speed of 25 miles per hour and strike would-be predators with the force of a low-speed car accident. A forceful blow to a great white's gills can stop its ability to take in oxygen from the water, which can be fatal. A well-placed shot on a great white abdomen can harm its internal organs. It's hardly surprising that great white sharks are so frightened when they swim toward these dangerous creatures, given that bottlenose dolphin pods usually consist of roughly 15 animals. Take a mental image of 15 meaty battering rams pounding on your body. Bottlenose dolphins do more than merely defend themselves against sharks, though. 4 people were rescued from a great white shark in New Zealand in 2004 by a group of good-hearted dolphins. The dolphins pushed the swimmers together as they swam in close circles around them. The dolphins herded them back in despite their attempts to swim away. The swimmers were only a few feet away when they abruptly saw a 10-foot great white shark. Surprisingly, until the shark lost interest, the dolphins continued to swim around them like personal bodyguards. Bottlenose dolphins are actually a man's best buddies. Forget dogs. Surprisingly, great white sharks are frightened by creatures other than dolphins. Great white sharks are also attacked by orcas, commonly known as killer whales, who are technically dolphins but are confusingly not whales. It's not surprising that these enormous mammals can easily compete with the supersized sharks, given their length of over 26 feet and weight of over 12,000 pounds. Orcas have a size advantage over sharks, yet their manner of attack is still terrifying. Off the coast of San Francisco in the 1990s, a North American orca was seen striking a great white. The shark was shocked by the blow's force, which caused the animal to turn the shark around. Some sharks go into what is known as tonic immobility when they are upended. This can occur for up to 15 minutes, allowing the killer whale ample time to bring the shark to the surface and out of the water, where it can suffocate it. They may not be whales, but there is a solid reason why they're referred to as killers. The orca killed the great white and then consumed its liver, which was a healthy snack due to its high fat and oil content. This dissection wasn't an isolated incident, in contrast to their bottlenose cousins who usually avoid larger mouthfuls in favor of smaller mouthfuls. Several great white shark carcasses without livers have washed up on shore. 4 great white corpses without livers washed ashore in South Africa's Western Cape in only 4 days in 2017 alone. There are no awards for figuring out who did it. Orcas are the Hannibal Lecters of the water, I suppose. Sans the fava beans and fine Chianti, if great whites are the jaws of the ocean. You know, another situation when it's better to be safe than sorry? Getting a subscription to ensure you never miss a video. I won't mob you, so don't worry. Oh, and while you're there, how about giving this video a like, if you like it? So, let's return to the subject. Elephants, beware. Elephants are among the most deadly creatures on the earth despite not eating flesh. They'll charge at whatever they see as a threat at speeds of up to 25 miles per hour while defending their young. It's around Usain Bolt speed. Oh, and don't forget that they have sharp tusks and may weigh up to 7 tons. So unless you're an African honeybee, you shouldn't meddle with them. See what happens when scientists play a harmless honeybee buzzing sound next to a herd of sleeping elephants. They appear to be escaping for their lives. Elephants are sensitive to stings around their eyes, lips, ears and trunk despite having skin that's about half an inch thick. A Kenyan elephant was blinded in 2002 after being stung by those buzzing terrors so severely around its eyes. Only after several injections did the swelling finally go down, and the elephant was once more able to see. When they perceive a threat, these clever bees produce chemicals called pheromones. More African honeybees are alerted to assist by the pheromones, which function as an alarm signal. Yet other bees also notice this. Elephants are also capable of recognizing when bees are not in the mood to make pals. What follows from it then? A throng. Yet other animals besides bees also terrify the biggest terrestrial mammals on Earth. There are legends that these enormous herbivores are likewise frightened of pigs. The Romans in antiquity employed these war pigs to terrify the enemy's war elephants. Gosh, those old fights seem more like a carnival than anything else. The Romans discovered that the squeals of pigs frightened elephants, so the pigs tarred the elephants whenever they were close by. As the pigs were lit on fire, they let out a powerful shriek that caused the elephants to turn around and trample. To be fair to the elephants, I doubt I'd want to stay if a lit pig started shrieking in my general area. Sweet revenge. Lions are a far more frightening species that elephants avoid at all costs elsewhere on the African plains, and who can blame them? There isn't much that these predatory cats won't sink their fangs into, including rhino, hippo and gazelle. If you spot this creature in the wild, run as far as your small legs will let you. Nevertheless, fleeing might not be enough to rescue you because lions can run up to 50 miles per hour. You should also forget about climbing to safety because these giant cats can jump a horrifying 12 feet into the air. It's hardly surprising that most animals avoid lions at all costs. All save one, that is. The honey badger may not sound dangerous only from its name. It also appears to be rather adorable at first glance and weighs just approximately 35 pounds. But beware, it doesn't put up with being cornered. These tenacious little devils, the sole extant member of the genus Mellivora, are more closely related to weasels than badgers. Yet, unlike a weasel, they have such courage that they've been recognized as the bravest mammal in the world by the Guinness Book of World Records. Yet you may assume that everything up against a lion has the desire to perish. A honey badger, fortunately, has a scheme under its furry sleeve. To begin with, these animals aren't hesitant to charge towards lions while raising their hackles and growling in unison. The approaching stink is certain to send these large cats up a tree if the shock effect isn't enough. To deter huge predators, honey badgers shoot a powerful substance from their anal glands that essentially works as a stink bomb. They have another prank ready to go even if they wind up in a vicious cat's mouth. A honey badger's hide is so strong that it can resist bites from large cats. Moreover, their skin is exceedingly loose and rubbery. Hence, if they are caught in a lion's jaws, they may be able to escape. They resemble a fuzzy, enraged bar of soap, despite the fact that they don't smell like one. These foul individuals still want to fight even though lions are not a threat. A honey badger named Stoffel at a wildlife park in South Africa broke out of his confinement and, get this, went to fight the lions in the pen next door. He constructed a tower out of rocks and mud to scale the wall since he was so determined to escape and fight. It appears that they've earned their spot in the Guinness Book of World Records. Jaguars versus otters. The largest cat species in the Americas is the jaguar, which can reach weights of over 200 pounds at maturity and has a bite that's strong enough to pierce through the shells of tortoises and turtles. However, jaguars aren't just interested in animals with shells. You shouldn't be shocked if you see one with a caiman or perhaps an anaconda in its mouth. Their peculiar method of killing is even more metal. They strike their target in the brain with a lethal bite that penetrates the skull. Now that's a headache. One species, however, will evade the jaws of the jaguar in South America's Amazon River. Despite how cute they may appear, enormous river otters are powerful. Birds, small animals, snakes, fish and even caimans and piranhas are all welcome snacks for them. What transpires after they clash with a jaguar? One cat with a curiosity for learning the hard way turns out there's a strength in numbers, but there's also strength in the water for otters. The enormous otters that govern the Amazonian rivers have webbed paws, long sleek bodies and keen canine teeth. Giant otter groups can have up to 20 individuals, which makes things extra terrifying for the jaguars. It seems sensible that jaguars would be wary of swimming in the water, given that these adorable animals like munching on piranhas and caimans. Gorilla thriller. Gorillas don't have any natural predators because of their bodybuilder-like strength and weight of up to 500 pounds. The males become extremely aggressive when they detect a threat, beating their chests and roaring to intimidate the threat into submission. It's not really a mystery why no one is battling gorillas either. If you've watched the movie Godzilla vs. Kong, you might believe that the only creatures that gorillas are afraid of are those who've been given nuclear radiation's power. These giant apes quake, though, over relatively little matters. These males have a paralyzing dread of insects and reptiles, despite the fact that they may appear to be the lords of the jungle. Indeed, it is correct, and I'm not referring to monstrous millipedes or enormous pythons. No, they're terrified of animals like caterpillars and chameleons, particularly young gorillas who've been seen to shun these creatures as if their whole existence depended on it. It's unclear why these large apes dread these critters, which are essentially harmless. Maybe Godzilla's wrath has scarred generations of gorillas, causing them to flee and panic any time they encounter anything that even somewhat resembles a radioactive reptile. One gorilla in a zoo in Kansas was even photographed escaping from a goose, as if insects and reptiles weren't terrible enough. Yes, geese are frightening, but I believe we should take away that gorilla's title as king of the jungle, don't you think? Scare bear. Imagine walking through the Canadian woodlands when all of a sudden a 7-foot-tall beast looms over you. Naturally, your initial reaction would be to flee, but if the animal you saw was a black bear, there's no cause for concern. Despite their intimidating size and appearance, assaults on people are uncommon since they're rarely hostile. Yet, 67 humans have been killed by black bear assaults in North America since 1900, suggesting that females defending their cubs and dominant males can turn hostile. Okay, I retract what I said. Run if you see a 7-foot black bear, but in actuality there is an animal that can make black bears also run away in terror. While it has quick reflexes, cutting teeth and keen claws, it's not a wolf that hunts bears. It's felines. That's right, these powerful animals will be terrified by your cat pal. They're difficult for 7-foot lumbering bears to attack since they're tiny, quick and nimble. Additionally, these vicious cats will attack with their razor-sharp claws and teeth if they feel threatened. They can even aim for the bear's throat and face thanks to their great jumping abilities. They can rip through a bear's skin and take blood even when they can't get to the important organs. The injured bear's recovery will take time. Even worse, the wounds could get an infection. These enormous mammals frequently choose to escape rather than engage in combat because they have much to lose rather than much to gain from a conflict. Shonka, good work there. If battling bears wasn't difficult enough for cats, there have been several instances of tabbies defeating alligators. Like bears, alligators are surprised by feisty cats' unpredictable behavior. The fact that these interactions take place on land where gators are far less at ease is also beneficial to the cats. Yet if these two ever got into a battle, there could only be one victor. I wouldn't give any tabby, no matter how chonky, much of a chance of beating up an alligator, since a cat's claws can't pierce an alligator's hide, and it can bite with a force that's more than 2,100 psi compared to a cat's pitiful 70 psi. Crocodile. One of nature's greatest predators is the crocodile. In fact, they are so deadly that croc attacks on people are 100 times more often deadly than shark attacks. The majority of these deaths are brought on by Central and Southern African Nile crocodiles. That makes sense, given that a 20-foot-long guy may measure up to 5 feet broad and weigh a substantial 1,500 pounds. Just take a look at this beast's size. It should come as no surprise that these omnivores would consume whatever they can get their fangs into, including fish, birds, and huge mammals like zebra and wildebeest. Yet these reptiles are equally susceptible to a surprise assault, much like alligators are. As adorable as this little hippo appears, these semi-aquatic beasts may be rather hazardous when fully grown. In actuality, hippopotamuses kill 500 people annually. Hippos may change from their peaceful demeanor in the water to protective anger when they're threatened. They can administer a bite with over 1,800 psi thanks to a cranium like this that has tusk-like teeth that are about 1.5 feet long. It should be sufficient to split a crocodile in two. Hippos can easily cut through a crocodile's strong hide when equipped with these big choppers, but they probably couldn't pull the hippo with a notorious death roll. Typically, crocodiles quickly rotate in the water while holding their victim in their jaws to paralyze, dismember, and kill it. It's not quite that simple, though, when the feast weighs a whopping 4 tons. The fact that a herd of more than 30 enraged hippos is determined to defend their offspring and attack the croc does not help the situation for the crocodile. It seems that crocodiles have learnt not to bother these animals, even if it means allowing hippopotamuses to use their tails as chew toys. Coyote killer. It should come as no surprise that coyotes, a close relative of wolves, are skilled hunters. They hunt their prey at speeds of up to 42 miles per hour, so quickly that there's little hope of escape using their exceptional sight and scent to pursue their target. These predatory dogs often attack by biting their prey in the throat and holding on to them until the victim passes out from suffocation or internal bleeding. Ouch. They have a wide variety of food available to them because of their very successful hunting technique, including rodents, birds, bigger animals like deer and elk, as well as livestock like goats and sheep. Yet there's one adorable species that coyotes would never attempt to harm. Despite their appearance, donkeys are not as harmless as they seem. These herbivorous animals with hooves have developed a natural aversion to wild dogs. They will thus grow enraged and charge at the dog any time they spot a member of this family. So farmers came up with a brilliant idea to use donkeys to guard their animals. Around 99% of sheep farmers in Colorado, United States, employ donkeys to protect their flocks from coyotes. So precisely why should coyotes be afraid of donkeys? First off, donkeys will bray extremely loudly to scare away any potential predators. The donkeys get violent if the coyotes still don't get the message. These herbivores have a 500 psi bite, or more than twice as strong as a human's. It's very blunt but powerful. Yet the legs of the donkey are its deadliest weapon. A well-placed kick to the coyote's skull would be dangerous, seriously injuring or possibly killing the animal. And one donkey named Buck from South Carolina went even further back in 2014. When Steve, his owner, noticed a coyote heading straight for Buck one day, he took Buck inside to live in a field by himself. Buck didn't like that at all, even if he wasn't protecting another herd of animals. Buck grabbed the coyote by the neck and stomped it into the ground before it had a chance to react. Steve, who was shocked, was able to get a couple of pictures of Buck ragdolling the coyote. Goodness, it appears that donkeys have some serious anger issues. I guess that's all the donkey stomping I can do today. Which predator duo effectively surprised you? Tell me when the remarks are appreciated. I appreciate your attention.